Listen very carefully, because if you are bored with XRP right now, if you feel like it is doing absolutely nothing, and if you have caught yourself thinking that this asset already had its chance and missed it, then you need to understand that you are exactly where the market wants you to be at this moment. Most people believe XRP is finished. They believe the lawsuit killed it. They believe that if it hasn't made a big move by now, then it never will. And they believe that holding it any longer is just wasted time. But that belief is not harmless. In fact, that belief is the most expensive mistake people make in every major market cycle. In every real financial transition, price is always the last thing to move. Positioning happens first, infrastructure comes next, adoption follows quietly, and only after all of that does price finally react. Institutions understand this perfectly, which is why they never chase hype, excitement, or social media trends. They buy what is boring, what is proven, what has already been stress tested, and what can quietly plug into the existing financial system without breaking. Most traders think that when nothing is happening on the chart, something must be wrong. But in reality, when nothing is happening, it often means the final test is taking place before repricing. This is the phase where patience is tested, conviction is shaken, and weak positioning is slowly removed from the market. Here is the uncomfortable truth that most people don't want to accept. If XRP were exciting right now, if headlines were screaming about it, if influencers were hyping it daily, you would already be too late. The frustration you feel, the slowness you notice, and the urge to ignore it are not accidental. This phase is designed to feel exactly like that. What you are watching right now is not price action, it is positioning. And the people quitting during this phase are the same people who will unknowingly fund the next major move. Now let's zoom out and look at the macro picture, because this is where most people completely misunderstand how markets actually move. People believe markets are driven by innovation, but innovation alone does not move capital at scale. Liquidity does. Liquidity is what drives every major cycle. Every cycle ends the same way. Debt levels become extreme. Economic growth begins to slow. Demographics start to roll over. And policymakers are forced into the same decision every single time. They choose liquidity over discipline. They always do. And here's the part that nobody likes hearing. That choice does not reward exciting assets. It rewards assets that are closest to the financial system itself. Historically, those have been hard assets and scarce assets. In this cycle, financial infrastructure is being added to that list. Crypto in this environment is not just a speculative trade, but not all crypto benefits equally. Most projects are screaming for attention, fighting for relevance, and relying on hype to survive. XRP is doing the opposite. XRP is not trying to be noticed. It is trying to be embedded. That difference matters far more than most people realize. Adoption does not arrive loudly. It does not look exciting at first. It looks boring, slow, and unimpressive. It looks like nothing is happening at all. That is exactly why most people miss it. Things are happening with XRP, just not where retail investors are used to looking. Cross-border payments, liquidity provisioning, stablecoin settlement, and tokenized assets are not narratives. These are real financial problems with massive inefficiencies, and institutions care deeply about solving those problems. Institutions do not adopt what is popular. They adopt what does not break. XRP has already passed tests that most crypto projects will never pass. Most projects will never achieve clear legal standing in the United States, yet XRP survived that process. So ask yourself a simple question. If XRP were truly dead, why would infrastructure around it still be expanding? Dead assets do not attract builders, partners, or long-term system integration. Retail investors still believe adoption happens after price, but that is backwards. Adoption always happens first, and price comes later. Look at the XRP ledger, look at RLUSD, and look at the quiet institutional conversations happening behind the scenes. Now compare that to most other crypto projects. Do they have real adoption? Are they part of serious regulatory discussions? Are government officials showing up to speak at their conferences? Most of them do not even have conferences. Institutions move quietly. There are no ribbon-cutting ceremonies and no public announcements declaring adoption. They want you bored, frustrated, and out of position before the move happens. They are not chasing meme coins or short-term hype. Once institutional positioning is complete, regulation follows pressure, retail arrives late, and mainstream media suddenly calls it obvious. That sequence never changes. I have lived through 3 full market cycles, and it has always played out the same way. Right now, XRP is in the phase where headlines stop mattering, price moves sideways, attention fades, and conviction is tested. This is where people confuse boredom with failure, even though boredom is actually the filter that removes weak hands, transfers supply, and builds the base for the next move. Most people never make it past this stage, and that is not an accident. This is how institutions and market makers win. They shake the tree until only the strongest positioning remains. Your job is simple: do not fall. Recently, one of the most important XRP-related discussions took place without hype, bold predictions, or viral clips. Financial advisors, ETF issuers, and institutional allocators spoke calmly and analytically. That calmness should concern you, because calm does not come from hope. It comes from certainty. They were not debating whether XRP would survive. They were discussing how it fits. In crypto, survivability is everything. Most projects fail because of regulation, irrelevance, or lack of real demand. XRP has already survived all 3. So here's the real question. If institutions already assume XRP will persist, what happens when uncertainty finally collapses? Most people are still trading crypto as if it were 2017, waiting for one big announcement to trigger a massive move. The market has matured. Narratives matter less, while liquidity flows, regulation, and institutional demand matter far more. Some assets will decouple temporarily, not forever, but long enough to surprise the majority of participants. XRP has something that most assets do not have: functional demand. Not future demand, not hypothetical demand, but real usage happening today. That is why technical analysis-only traders consistently miss XRP. It does not grind higher. It does not reward impatience. It compresses, moves sideways, and convinces people it is broken until suddenly it is not. Legal clarity does not arrive all at once. It comes in steps through bills, guidance, and licensing. Each step reduces friction, each step expands demand, and when uncertainty finally collapses, price does not wait for confirmation. Institutions do not care about narratives. They care about settlement speed, counterparty risk, and balance sheet efficiency. Using a ledger as infrastructure rather than speculation changes everything. Tokenized funds, on-chain treasuries, stablecoins, and payment rails may be boring for retail, but they are critical for institutions. Retail adoption always follows infrastructure, never the other way around. Regulation is not bearish, it is selective. It eliminates weak projects and crowns resilient ones. In the short term, volatility, fear, and drawdowns will remain. That is the cost of the upside ahead. In the long term, money becomes programmable, settlement becomes instant, and markets never close. You will not even notice blockchain technology anymore. You will simply use it. XRP is positioning itself inside that future system. Most people quit during the waiting phase, and that is why they never experience the move. This is not a pump. This is positioning. And when XRP moves, it will not care who lost patience along the way. The real edge in this market is surviving the boredom. If you are still here, you are one of the few who did. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and here's to 2026, a year crypto will never forget. This script is for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Cryptocurrency investments are highly volatile and involve significant risk. Always do your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making any investment decisions.